If you want to wake up and be free, you need to look at what you consume and how you consume it. There's a lot of information in the world right now about awakening, spiritual awakening, freedom, liberation, no self, all of these things. But very few of them look at this fundamental aspect of the path of awakening, which is desire, craving, and being free from desire and craving. I would say it's absolutely fundamental to look at how we desire, what we consume, and how that fuels future craving if we want to find liberation. Now, there's a few reasons why it's not spoken about, which I'm not going to get into in too much detail, but I think one of the most overlooked reasons is that we live in a consumer society. So that means the very foundation, like the structure on which our society is built, is one that's like kind of founded in consumerism, in the false idea that we cannot be happy with what we've already inherently got in life, and we need to consume goods, services, ideas, products in order to find happiness. Now, this is so deep in our makeup, so deep in our society, that just me telling you, or anybody telling us, is not enough to see it. It's fundamental to, the way that we've learned to interact in the world. The very first words we have said, certainly in Western cultures, were within that context of desire and craving and needing to live a life that consumes things in order to be happy. And really the path of awakening is saying that no, those things that we desire are keeping us bound to a life of suffering. Our craving fuels our suffering. So in order to be free, we need to be free of that. We need to be free from craving. And that's really difficult to do if we can't see how we're conditioned by, all of the interactions around us. So in the last, let's say 100 years, it's just rough figures, but in the last 100 years, the birth of modern consumerism has mutated into this light speed, hyper global monster, really. And I don't mean monster as in like it's evil. It doesn't have really any good or evil to it, but what it is self-perpetuating and rooted in delusion. And this is by design. Those delusions of us not being enough, of us being separate, of us needing more than what we've got right now in order to be happy, that's baked into the outlook. That's baked into consumerism. That's how these methods of advertisement, products, the entire Western world, you could say, that's how it operates, by feeding into our fears, letting us or fueling us to feel more and more ill at ease, and then selling us the answer to that disease in products, services, goods, like I said before. Now, the tricky thing is, if you're on a path of awakening, that consumer outlook is so deep, so deep in us that we don't see it. It is almost entirely invisible. And what that means is that even spiritual messages, even messages about awakening, will have this as a foundation to them. So if I'm born in the West and I'm raised in the West, and I'm raised in a society that is saturated with consumerism, which means desire, basically, saturated with that inherent desire to have something, to make this all better, then there's a real danger that's going to come out in the way that I communicate. And I'm going to fuel that further craving, further desire in the things that I say. So for me personally, I take it really, really seriously that I look at what I communicate and whether that's being driven by my unseen bias, my unseen prejudices, the unseen aspects of me that are founded in a consumer world. And you can see it all over the modern spiritual community online. Because, well, I'll give an example. So we see again and again, and I've seen again and again, people offering different tiers of membership in order to get access to facets of the truth, or asking questions to a guru. So if you pay £5 per month, you can get access to videos you would never see before, or you get to have a one-to-one question with me and you get to come into community. Now, on the surface, that seems innocuous, doesn't it? But what it is founded right in the heart of a consumer model. That model has been rolled out by consumer platforms like YouTube or Instagram or TikTok. You know, it's foundational to that consumer platform. And because we don't question it, because it's the foundation of what we are, we just go along with it. We just go, yeah, that's the way it is. You know, there's real value for me tiering and charging people to access to the truth, which is free, always free. The truth is always free. It's always right here. It is our birthright. And yet, we can very easily, as people talking about it, think that it's okay, think that it's completely normal to charge people for access to it. Now, this isn't, I'm not trying to communicate judgment. What I'm saying is we really need to look at those biases that say that that's just how it is, that's how it has to be. It does not have to be like that. It absolutely does not have to be like that. We can choose, if we want, to buck that trend of fueling craving, fueling consumerism, fueling further desire in other people. And also, if you're a consumer, and I say if you are a consumer, we are all consumers in the Western world. That's just kind of the way it goes. Like I said, it's fundamental. So if we are consuming whatever it is, most of the time it's cerebral stuff nowadays, isn't it? Media seems to be the big product that is consumed. If we are consuming, we owe it to ourselves, if we want freedom, to look at what we consume, how we consume it, and why. What is it doing? What do we want from it? Now, like I said, most of this facet of our experience is unseen. It's so deep in our bones that we don't even see it going on. And there's a really good way you can find out if that's operating or not. Like, is my desire to be free, desire to wake up, is it being driven or subtly controlled by unseen forces of craving and consumer desire? So just ask yourself a few questions, or listen to these questions. So what if you never watched another YouTube video ever again? How does that feel? What goes on in the body? Can you feel a part of you that wants to either resist or explain away and just kind of say, no, it's totally fine. These are the reasons why I do it. It's my choice. I do it because I choose to, and it's not really harmful. I'm not saying it is harmful, but these are the kind of rhetorics that would come up. And these are rhetorics that are grounded in a self that's been built on desire, a self that's been built on in a consumer world, essentially. If we challenge that, immediately we see, well, that self turns away. It just says, no, don't look at that. Don't look at the way in which you continue to consume, because we have to do that. It's foundational to our happiness, to our well-being. And you can ask it about any part of your life in which you see habitual consumption, habitual desire. So another question might be, why do you want to wake up? What is it that you want to awaken to? Do you want to be free from attachment and the desire to consume at all? Or do you want to be free to consume? They're very different things, and I've met so many people that it's clear that really what they're looking for is not liberation in a spiritual sense, in Advaita and Buddhism that's talked about. They want freedom to kind of have guilt-free consumption. I want the freedom to consume whatever I want, whenever I want to, but not feel guilty about it, and be free, be liberated, be a divine being that's doing whatever they want in a Western world, like rooted in consumerism. Again, none of this is about judgment. It's about unpicking these deep, deep threads that are keeping us bound to suffering. So the Buddha spoke about in his very first sutta, the very first communication of a Dharma that he gave to the world, he expanded the 4 noble truths. And the first truth is that there is suffering, and the second truth is that suffering is due to craving, self-centered craving, tanha, thirst, desire. So if we don't look at that thirst, we don't look at that desire, and we don't look at how society fuels that and how I might feel that in myself and in others, then we'll never ever be free. So if you are on the path of awakening and you do truly want freedom, I would say it's absolutely crucial that you look at what you consume, how you consume it, and why we are consuming.